What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network. My name is Nick and welcome to a new video. Welcome to my 5 personal picks for who I think the Vikings should possibly target in this 2021 offseason. Now, before we get into anything, I want to make 2 things very apparent. 1, I am not Adam Schefter and I am not Ian Rappaport. I'm not saying the Vikings will go after these guys. I'm just saying I'd like to see them go after these guys. And 2, I understand the Vikings are in cap hell right now. You have to understand, moves will be made, guys will be restructured, all that stuff. There will be money to spend. You have to realize that. So I'm making these picks with the idea in place that we will have some money to spend. Now, kicking off the first player, we're actually going to start with 2 because they're on the same level, they're at the same position. Either one would be totally fine. That is Brandon Sheriff and Joe Thuney. Now, as we know, these 2 are the top offensive guards in the 2021 free agency class, and we also know they're going to be pretty expensive. But we have to remember, Dakota Dozier is not the answer at left guard. He was just absolutely atrocious this year, and something needs to be done. Otherwise, Kirk will eventually die. Now, while I feel like this is one of the more unlikely things for us, considering the price that these guys are going to demand, I do have an idea for how this could go. What I would do is I would cut or trade Riley Reiff. You open up a little over $11 million with that. You move Ezra Cleveland over to left tackle where he naturally plays, and then you have 2 holes at the guard positions. One you fill with obviously Brandon Sheriff or Joe Thuney, and the other one you go and use your first round pick on someone like Wyatt Davis out of Ohio State, and you fill that other guard spot, and things, for the most part, are pretty okay. But like I said, I don't know how likely this is, but this would be an absolutely massive move and something we wouldn't expect from someone like Rick Spielman. Moving on to the next player, it's someone that you also wouldn't really expect because a lot of fans don't think we need another wide receiver, but Jacksonville wide receiver Keelan Cole is set to hit the open market, and he does already have a good relationship with newly acquired Minnesota Vikings wide receiver coach Keenan McCardell, and he would give us an actual good wide receiver 3 option as well as a punt returner as well, because let's face it, Olabisi Johnson and Chad Beebe have had their time to try and prove themselves at both of those positions, and in my eyes, neither of them have really done that great of a job. Now, Keelan Cole hasn't put up the greatest numbers in Jacksonville, but you gotta remember who's been throwing to him for his entire career. With Kirk Cousins at the helm, it's almost a sure thing that those numbers would skyrocket. And considering the lack of production up to this point, I wouldn't be surprised if you can get him for a pretty cheap price. So I think Keelan Cole could definitely be a great addition. Next is a player that I've seen absolutely no one talk about, and I don't really understand why, and that's going to be Denzel Perryman, linebacker for the Los Angeles Chargers. He is going to be hitting the open market here in the offseason, and the Chargers already run the same scheme as the Minnesota Vikings on defense, so he would fit right in. Now, he's never been a full-fledged starter. He plays most games, but he doesn't start a lot of games. But this could be his opportunity. Now, I know that linebacker isn't the biggest position of need, but what you could do here is you can cut or trade Anthony Barr, open up a lot of money there, re-sign Eric Wilson with whatever money you have, and then you can go and sign someone like Denzel Perryman for a 1 or 2 year contract to see if he could actually end up being a starter. If you look at his grades according to PFF, in 2020 he graded out extremely well, so there's not really a lot of risk here with possibly using him as a starter, especially because guys like Bryce Callahan and Troy Dye and even Todd Davis, they're not going to be the answer, and they're not going to be our 3rd full-fledged starter. And considering the fact that he hasn't been a full-fledged starter, that should help us to keep his price low. So with that situation, you would have Denzel Perryman, then you would have Eric Kendricks, as well as Eric Wilson, and to me, that seems like a pretty damn good core. Moving on to player number 4, there's already been a little bit of speculation about this one if he does end up getting released, which it looks like he will. That is Geno Atkins. Now, Geno Atkins has been in the league for a long time. He's been a long-time starter, and he has also worked with Mike Zimmer back when Mike Zimmer was the defensive coordinator in Cincinnati. So there's already a good relationship there. Atkins would fit really good into our 3 technique spot on the defensive line, which is somewhere where we need a good filler. And a lot of people will tell me, and they've told me on other videos that I've made, he's old and he's past his prime, and why are we wasting our money on this? Well, those 2 things, old and I'd say at the end of his prime, can also equate to a pretty good price tag for us. Not only could he be a solid option for a year or 2, he could also bring in some veteran leadership that we obviously desperately need on such a young defense. So I think Geno Atkins could possibly be a pretty good bargain if you get him for the right price. And moving on to the last player, I can almost guarantee that no one has thought of this idea, but Xavier Rhodes, his deal with the Colts is up. And I know what you guys are going to say. We got rid of him for a reason, but if you look at the numbers and you look at his PFF grades, and I know people hate PFF, but just shut the hell up, he graded out pretty damn well, especially compared to his past couple years when he was not doing very well for us. And again, just like the Geno Atkins situation, the cornerback room for the Minnesota Vikings is one of the youngest in the league, and bringing someone that already knows our scheme, already knows how things go, and is just a bona fide veteran could really help these young guys out. Sure, he might not be the best cornerback in the world, but you probably could get him for cheap, even though we had a little bit of bounce back year. He's going to be 30 years old, probably doesn't have a lot of time left, so we could use that to our advantage, and who knows, maybe he just wants to come home. So why not? Why not bring back Xavier for another go? And that is gonna wrap up this video, guys. If you thought any of these picks were awful, which I know many of you probably will, let me know in the comments down below. If you think you have any better picks, tell me who you want the Vikings to pick up this coming offseason. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the button down below to subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to share this video with anyone, you can do that anywhere, anytime with anyone. If it's cracked you around the corner, that's your guys' best option. You guys already know. My name is Nick, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Adios.